Now we will go to the Saraswati. Here we are finding a description where they say Saraswatya vinashane dikshante. Categorical sentence. Do your initiation procedure of Saraswat Satra at Saraswati's Vinashana. What is Vinashana? Where the Saraswati disappears. Again, then the procedure goes on. Shamyam Parasati. We will be using this. If time permits, I will be able to show you how actually Saraswat Satra is being done. You have also seen the video where I was trying to explain as to how actually that Saraswat Satra is done. And there, interestingly, here in this Saraswat Satra, this is a moving ritual. Again, this is also one of the unique specialities. All rituals otherwise are static. Wherever you there is a static what we call Vedi, and there we perform. Here the whole Vedi is on wheels. It's a Vedi on wheels. It is like the Jagannath Ratha, and it is being pushed on the bank of Saraswati. Just imagine how flat the bank of Saraswati is. And what they do is they throw a stick. Wherever it falls, the next day the whole this Vihara is shifted to the next location. And there is a categorical saying where they say, Yadi Vishame Nipatet. It is like the Gulli Danda game of that we Indians play. If the gulli falls into some uneven place, the next chance is wasted. So what they do, you get one more chance to throw it again, so that it falls on an even place where it can be again hit. So like that, this Shamya, if it falls in water or somewhere else, you have to take it out and then you have to move there and so on. So it's a very interesting ritual, well described. And again, very interestingly, there is a distance describer here. There is again a unit used to describe the distances of Vinashana to Plakshapka Sravana and Vinashana to the confluence of Drushadvati, which are such measures that they have brought, for me at least, this Saraswati from a fictitious Vedic Devata. Saraswati is it is first of all, Rigveda Saraswati is not actually a river at all. But then we have these Vedic ritualistic manuals showing us without any doubt that it is a river, not only a river, it has definite parameters, as we will show just now. Now, the unit used here was, there are certain small difficulties. Here the unit used is Ashvinam. Last time we saw the unit Devarathanyam. But another interesting thing was, Tandya Brahmana had a passage which actually initially I didn't know, and I just made a leap of intuitive faith, and then I could connect this Ashwin. I am speaking historically. Last year I published this result in Lucknow conference, but it has been not yet talked of in the scholarly circles. They are probably afraid of talking such things. And then what I see is Ashvinam, I get a very clear understanding of it. It is the movement of this yaga in 6 months of time, and that is around 9 kilometers. It is in fact mentioned in the same passage, all these three, Yojana, Ashwin and Anyam. And you can see the relation, Yojana is less than Ashwin is Devarathanya, and we get a fair measure of Ashwin, which is verifiable by other secondary means also. So now, coming to the geography of Kurukshetra. I have mentioned certain things. Actually, this is a refutal of many of the presumptions that people have about Saraswati. You can read some of them. Shutudri definitely joins Vipat. The Vedic literature is absolutely clear that Shutudri is not a tributary of Saraswati at all. Then we have Yamuna. Yamuna is not a tributary of Saraswati at all. It is joining Ganga right in this complete epoch. So if somebody wants to talk of something ancient, some other glaciation period when Ganga is not there and the Himalaya is not there, we are not holding them accountable. But at least in this epoch, nothing doing. Saraswati is a rainwater fed river having an origin not in the hills but in plains of Kurukshetra. So this is, I will show, it is confirmable. Now look at this, it is a Google map image. The things have not changed much. The Saraswati is still visible, as you have already seen in the video, but of course the remnants. The water is not there, but the dry bed is unmistakable, and it is 5 kilometers wide generally. And well, if you see, this is Saraswati. This is not, we didn't decide it. Okay, by the way, let me be clear. This is already decided on many bases. Geography, the people have studied geologically, hydrologically, archaeologically, and so on. And then they decided the course. We have used this as a base map on which we have mapped our distances, and we are trying to find out whether these places, particular locations which are now lost, their tradition is lost. We do not know where Vinashana is. We do not know where Plaksha Prasarva is. That is what we are interested in finding. So now this is Saraswati, this is Drushadvati as shown by them, and of course this is the Kurukshetram between Saraswati and Drushadvati, and we have this Prachistali, which is the present day town of Thanesar, Brahma Sarovar, etc. That is Prachistali. And then we have the Khandav. We are also sitting in it. We are in Khandav Prastha, right? And then we have this Turgana, which is Tohana, Patiala district. And this is the Parinath. This is near Suratgarh. Near Suratgarh. Now, this description, again, this is a description in the Veda. Okay, the internal evidence only is pointing towards such a description. It's quite a fabulous description, where a lot many details are there. And then what we saw, there is an interesting issue there. If somebody would say this is all extrapolation and somebody later period has gone into that, etc., etc., then there is a counter evidence. They are saying Marava is to the north of Saraswati. Now, who in the right sense would leave the Thar desert, and instead of saying Thar desert is the Maru, why should they say that Maru is to the north of Saraswati? And it is somewhere near Hanumangarh. It is in fact the Dabbali town. Dabbali Mandi is in that old sand dunes are being referred as Maru. They don't refer to this Vinashana in the Maru. That's a green pasture land for them. It is not a Maru at all. Remember, that is that epoch. And their Maru is to the north of Saraswati. Now these are very interesting things, details. How did we get a confidence into it? Now, note this confluence of the Saraswati with Drushadvati. Okay, unmistakable. We can see the northern. Okay, this is the confluence of Saraswati, and what we wanted to know was what is the distance. That passage I have not commented, but then actually that passage says once we start from Vinashana, start throwing the stick, go upstream towards Saraswati, then what happens is after crossing 8 Ashvinas, you reach a river called Drushadvati. That Drushadvati might have water or might not have water. In both cases, you have to cross it and then proceed towards Saraswati. And then you have to proceed further 36 Ashvinas, and then you will reach a place called Plaksha Prasarvana, where the yaga ends, and from there you take your final bath in Yamuna, not in Saraswati. You are not supposed to take bath ever in Saraswati. For 22 years, you are walking on Saraswati and you are not taking bath. Funny. They are very primitive people probably. Anyway, the point is, it's a very interesting yaga, and what they do is, what we have to do. I am not going to do that yaga. What I am going to do is, I am just going to map 72 kilometers from that confluence. And what do I see? If you see it along with me, you will wonder that it is coming to a place where there is a bifurcation of Saraswati dry bed. Already known to the scientists. They have been already talking that this is an inland delta. They are not aware of the Vedic scripts. They are not manufactured. This is there, plain evidence, physical evidence. And what I do, when I map nearly 72 kilometers, you can see that Google map, and you can do it. Everybody can do that experiment again. And what do we get? We get a place where the Saraswati is bifurcating, its stream is widening to 11 kilometers and more, and they call it a depression which caused the demise or disappearance of Saraswati. Scientists have been talking about this without knowing the Vedic reference, and now what I get is no reverse engineering, frankly speaking. This gave me the confidence that the distances are right. And then I could get the other side of the picture. That is what I am banking upon. When I map this 32 yojanas, which was also the 32 Devarathanya, you can say the same, we reached Prachistali. From bifurcation, from this Saraswati Drushadvatyo Sangamat, if we come to 32 Devarathanyam, we get to Prachistali, and if we get to further 4 yojanas are remaining, 4 Ashvinas are remaining, I made an arc, just a blind arc. I wanted to know what all things are there. And then I saw a place, a village named Foksa. Now that set mind working, Foksa. And what am I searching for? Laksha. It gave me a straight clue that is it a Apabhramsha? Let me go and verify. So when I actually went and verified, I will show you a few images of what we do, what actually we found. But before that I would explain that Saraswati Satra, how it is actually done. This is the general Vedi Vihara. And this is just for people who want to know more. Later on they can study. This is Sado Mandap, Abhidan Mandap on wheels. And the fire, that Garyapatya and Ahavani Agni is on the ground only. And then there is a yupa. Generally this yupa is to be dug into the earth in normal yaga. Here what we do is, there is a wide base to it and it is just dragged and just it stands on its own. So that kind of stuff is there. And then what they do is, this is the shamya, it is to be thrown. Wherever it falls, and then you move. It is not moved the way it is just a convenience. The whole thing is moved one by one to the next place. And then what they say, all the description is there. How much is the vihara and how much is the throw is that actually we experimented and found. And we came to a figure 50 meters a day. How much do you progress? 50 meters a day. So how much will you progress in let's say 6 months? 1 ayana, basically 9 kilometers. That is the Ashvina. And in it will take to cover from Vinashana to Plaksha Prasrama, it will take 22 years. Now if we actually try to see an animation of how the yaga is to be done, you start at Vinashana, and at Vinashana what you do is, you do initiation procedure of 24 days and then you do your Atiratra and then you start. It will take 4 years for you to reach this Drushyadvati Sangam. There you will cross it, and then as I will remind you, there is a sentence there. If Drushyadvati has water, what it says? It says that Drushyadvati is not already, it is already a seasonal stream. In the time of Vedic epoch, another testimony that in the Vedic epoch, Drushyadvati is a seasonal stream, while Saraswati is a perennial stream, but only up to Vinashana. Now these are very interesting things. Then we start from there. There are actually many like just like those Saraswati Satra. If somebody really studies, there is no escape from what conclusions I have derived. And actually what they do is, they leave 100 cows with one Rishabha. Now 100 cows with one Rishabha are left to graze freely, and they have to become 1000. So now there is a race between two alternatives. Either you reach Plaksha Prasravana, or those cows multiply to 1000. In either case the yaga ends successfully. So for 100 cows to become 1000, and only female cattle, the male cattle has to be culled. It takes, we calculated, it comes to around 16 years. And if you throw this samya, you will take 18 years in the best way to reach Plaksha Prasravana. Again a test that all these distances are right, the geography is right, and there is no mistaking as to what we are finding. So now this is the Vinashana. And of course, after reaching Plaksha Prasravana, all these Yaga Vihara is to be left there, and then one is asked to go to Yamuna in a single day. 30 kilometers you walk in a single day from there, because you are no more throwing the Shamya. You just walk there, take your ablution. You are already gifted those 1000 cows or whatever they have happened. And then, interestingly, this is an evidence that Plaksha Prasravana cannot be in the hills, because this whole 20 square meter Vihara, 20 meter by 20 meter Vihara is to be pushed in even ground. Where is the question of Plaksha Prasravana being in the hills? And Plaksha is the name of a tree. And mind you, Vedas don't have merely conventional names. Vedic terms are at the best what we call Yoga Rudha. Their meaning has to have an Anvarta. We don't find Dhanadasa in a Veda with being a pauper. We will not find such a thing. So we say Plaksha Prasravana, it has to be a Plaksha tree from which the trickle is coming out and forming a pond which becomes Saraswatya Shaishavam. And the story of Chavana, if you have heard of, Chavana Rishi Akhyan, if you have heard of Sukanya and Chadra, that is part of Jaiminiya Brahmaning, the same. It is actually being taking place at the Saraswatya Shaishavam. But that is another story, because that is a far off epoch. That is not in the epoch of Veda Shakha Pravachanam. So now coming to the few illustrations of as to what we found there. At the Vinashana, very interestingly, the bifurcation place, right in the Saraswati, we have a Harappan mound, right in the bed of Saraswati. So Saraswati is not flowing beyond. What more do you need? Right in the bed of Saraswati, we have this Harappan mound of 3000 BC. This is borrowed. And then we have beautiful, if you see the land in the tract, in the river bed, is so fertile. After coming of the Shatluj, canals, it is wonderfully fertile. And then both sides, what we see is sand dunes, brackish water, and anywhere you drill in this river bed, the water is sweet. So these are the ways that they have already decided. Actually, we have not dug the well, we just asked the villagers We confirmed whether the water is sweet or not. Now this is that confluence, and Ghaggar still floods. It's very interesting. They say Saraswati is no. No, Saraswati is perennially no. It still floods. If all these canals are removed, Saraswati will still flow. But it will be the Ghaggar which will be flowing, and not the real Saraswati, the southernmost stream. And I will show later. And this is the Prachistali, and then this is what we have, some images from Phoksa. And then this is, as we showed, the winter bath that we took in Yamuna.